Why should you play Final Fantasy VII Remake? 3 things. This, and this. There you go. But if that's not enough to convince you, then stick around because I'll be going into more details on the most awaited title this coming April. Now, a little background on my history of Final Fantasy games. I've played a bit of FF6, I've played FF8, FF9, and FF15. But I've never played the original Final Fantasy VII. Which makes it more exciting. A lot of FF7 fans are definitely gonna get the remake for the nostalgia and to see if there are any major changes in the plot. However, for people like me who are new to the game, it's going to be a fresh new experience. A chance to finally get into the fandom and the world of Final Fantasy VII. However, I do have a weird case and I'm sure a lot of people are like me. What do I mean? Now, despite not being able to play the OG FF7, I am, however, quite familiar with the characters and some important plot points of the story. And that's all thanks to Square Enix marketing of the game, and also the love of the fandom spreading content and spoilers of FF7 ever since it got released. Currently, Final Fantasy VII has 3 spin-off games, an anime, and a full CGI movie, making it one of the most beloved Final Fantasy in the franchise. Personally, I was first exposed to FF7 through Advent Children. It was probably the most impressive CGI movie I've ever seen back in 2005, and it remains to be in my top list of CGI movies purely for how slick and realistic the animations look. It's also the reason why I have a massive crush on Tifa. So after watching Advent Children, I began to consume random contents about FF7 through memes and YouTube videos. But with how big the world and lore of FF7 is, I couldn't find time or motivation to actually play the original game, or even watch a playthrough of it, which I'm now quite thankful for. Alright, sorry for the background check, I just wanted you guys to settle in and to know where my opinions will be coming from. So if you guys want to know more about the setting or the synopsis of the game, or if you guys want to go dive deeper into the lore of Final Fantasy VII, then just check out the wiki. What I'll be talking about in this video is more of my personal takes and opinions on what I've played in the demo and the things we've already seen in the trailers. So, let's begin. We'll be focusing more on the battle system here. FF7 Remake features a real-time hack-and-slash mechanic while utilizing the classic ATB system. The player can freely attack, block, evade, and switch around party members during battle. However, they can only do commands such as using abilities, items, summons, and other special moves if they have an ATB bar filled. This is where the strategy part of the game comes in. The ATB bar or ATB gauge will fill over time during battle, but you can fill it up faster by doing normal attacks. Once you have a bar filled, you can pop up the command menu and use the ATB charge to perform a special action. The command menu will slow down time so you can sort out and choose your next moves carefully. The battle animations are really smooth and feels fast-paced, but don't get too hyped up about hacking and slashing because normal attacks don't really do significant damage on stronger enemies, which is why it's recommended to fill your ATB bar and perform stronger commands for a more efficient battle. By the way, your special commands can be cancelled by enemy attacks, so be careful when pressing the button. Another thing worth noting is players are encouraged to switch between party members during harder battles. Now, I know nobody really wants to use Barret, but trust me, you'll want to switch to him when the opportunity comes, and not only because he can do range attacks. Switching between characters can actually save you in a pinch wherein your main character gets snowballed with damage or is rendered useless. When you switch characters, the previous character will go on auto mode and will block and evade attacks accordingly. This will give you a breathing time to heal party members or perform better actions. Now let's talk about game modes. For the hardcore classic fans who are more into strategy than hack and slash, you don't need to worry because the remake will allow you to change game modes. The demo currently shows 3 difficulty settings. In normal mode, the enemies are fairly challenging and you have to manually block and attack enemies. This is the default game mode. Easy mode, on the other hand, has super weak enemies, so it's recommended for players who just wants to focus on the story. And lastly, classic mode, where it has the same weak enemies as easy mode, but your character will automatically attack and block, so all you have to do is wait for the ATB gauge to fill and execute special commands. It's the easiest of all the modes because it feels like you're just watching a movie. This will appeal more to people who are new to video games in general or those who just want a chill backseat experience. Now, I do hope there will be a harder version of Classic Mode where enemies are relatively stronger so that it feels a bit more like the original game. However, I have yet to see any news about such a mode. Overall, FF7 Remake's current battle system appeals towards fans of modern action games and allows classic fans a fair transition. I'd also like to point out how smooth the animations on this game are. If you will pay close attention to each attack, you'll see how impressive and majestic the characters look. Here you'll see Cloud doing his attacks in slow-mo while the command window is up. I mean, just look at those frames as he winds up that braver. The attention to detail is just really good. Not only that, enemy attacks are well animated too. You can literally see the bullets flying off the guns and the impact it makes when it hits. So I guess the devs really put a lot of effort into the animations and physics of this game to give everyone a more immersive experience. So, plus points in that. In the full release, the players will unlock other features such as summons that work differently in this game. Usually in Final Fantasy games, summons will only appear in battle to unleash one large attack and then leave right after. But in this remake, the summons will actually stay for a certain amount of time and beat the crap out of enemies like a raid boss. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, just imagine those summons during boss fights. It's gonna be epic. Now, as an action game fan, I'm really impressed with the battle mechanics, and having played Final Fantasy XV, it was easy for me to transition and get a hang of the ATB system since it kinda reminds me of Link Strikes. The main menu UI looks similar too, so it's very clean and easy to navigate like the classic. Now let's talk about the overall look of the game. What's always so awesome about remakes in today's generation is just seeing how the game evolved in both graphics and music. As you can see, we've come really far from the 16-bit polygons, and yet somehow the remake doesn't feel unrecognizable or unfamiliar. The developers did a really good job in improving everything visually, but they held back just enough so that it doesn't change completely. This gives the original fans a sense of nostalgia and familiarity to welcome them back home. Audio-wise, the sound effects are pretty cool and immersive. The voice acting is top-notch and the dialogue doesn't sound awkward or unnatural, unlike Kingdom Hearts. And my favorite in any game is definitely the music. Final Fantasy is probably the reason why I'm so into orchestral music. Back when voice acting didn't exist in FF games, the music of Nobuo Uematsu was the one that gave spirit to the game for setting the mood and atmosphere of each scene. Even now, I still listen to the original soundtracks and it never fails to touch my soul and send a glorious amount of nostalgia. Even though I never played the OG FF7, I'm quite familiar with its soundtrack, purely for just how awesome it sounds. So I'm very happy that the OG soundtrack is back and has been made into something a lot more epic because of the orchestral arrangements. I swear, the music in this game will get anyone pumped up. So you see, you don't have to be an original fan to appreciate just how awesome this remake is gonna be. I mean, it's already amazing to see how this turned into this. Another thing fans are so hyped up about is how this game retains some really important events from the original. I remember during the early announcements, people were already speculating whether the game will mix up the story too much because they were worried that their favorite scenes will be taken out or changed. But later, fans were delighted that Square Enix teased one of the most memed and memorable moments in the game, which is Cloud's cross-dressing. People were very happy to know that the developers were considerate about this scene, and it gives hope to the fans that they'll also see their favorite scenes in the remake. And ironically, they're also worried about that scene. So for now, we don't really know how loyal this remake will be from the original, or if they'll change the story in more ways than we hope them to, but I think that's what makes it exciting. A fresh new start, a fresh new adventure. A chance to finally put old and new together. So if you're already thinking of playing FF7 Remake, then awesome! I hope you guys enjoy the game when it comes out. But if you're still unsure whether you want to play it or not, then do try out the demo. It's free in the PlayStation Store. See if that changes your mind. As for me, like what I've been saying to everyone in my social media and in my streams, the moment I get my hands on the game, I'll do nothing but play that game non-stop. Maybe I'll take breaks in between, but you guys get the point. Well, whatever you guys decide to do, we'll have an awesome time in Midgar. Alright guys, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys when I get the game. Stay safe. Jesse Best Girl.